community is really important to, keep that morale up. It helps you to cope, be more resilient. Not one person is functioning, even though they may think so, they're not functioning completely alone.
If someone were just kind of starting out and wanted to get into business, what kind of advice would you have or give them?
I would definitely say, I think a lot of people sit around and they talk about their ideas, and I know a lot of people are still talking about their ideas. All the people that I know and who have businesses had to do it. If they can't get help, to salvage, then it might be time to give up.
Hello, Project Ultimate Lifers. We have our friend Nysa here. She will be, I was introduced to her as Nysa, and I've been calling her that for as long as I've known her. Turns out her name's Nysa. So let's get that right. All right, so today we're going to be talking about building companies, community, running teams, etc. So let's hear what she has to say.
All right.
Nysa, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got from the U.S. to here, your journey in a nutshell.
Okay, nutshell. So as a young student in college, it was very expensive to survive and to be a full-time student in the United States, particularly my hometown. And
Which is where?
Los Angeles, California,
Los Angeles.
LA, West Side. So during my studies, I made the decision to not be broke anymore. So I wrote a program. It took me about 3 months to write it. 6 months from the time that I finished writing, or shall we say from starting to write it, I got a grant from California to help me with my startup costs. And within 9 months, doors were open and I was in operation.
Nice.
Yeah. So, did that for many, many years. And then met my husband one day. And after operating for another couple of years and realizing I couldn't travel with the businesses that I had in LA, where his lifestyle was all about travel, it really kept us separate. And so as we started to build a family, I had to make a decision with him of how we were going to bring the family together, because that was as important to me as running businesses. So as a young person, I had this dream that one day I'm going to, own businesses. And once that happened, then the other dreams, of being a mom and having a unified family became very important. Mm-hmm. So I packed up all 4 businesses and baby, jumped on a plane and moved to Europe.
Nice.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
In Poland, you were there for how long, and how did you make your way to Doha?
Okay, so I was there for 11 and a half years. Husband kept traveling, which separated us once again. And this time I decided, nope, I was already the one to sacrifice. I'm staying put because I built, some businesses there and built some endeavors. And I didn't want to move again and start over again. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, here you are.
Now I am in Doha.
Starting over.
Yes.
What are you starting with?
With another business. So this time, all of my businesses have been service oriented, where this one is more service and product oriented. I started over again. And this time it was much easier because, from all of the past experiences, knew what to look for. And when it was time, just went for it, because it's more about let's say getting used to covering the documentation more than anything else once you've already done this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your company? What do you do? What's the vision for what you've got going on here?
So we do a couple of things. So mostly entertainment based. So I have a band and we perform for a living. So that's how we actually started our career here in Doha, was performing for World Cup. And then the other leg of the business is very, production, film and photography oriented, but with let's say a little spark of technology just to push it to the edge, because my husband's very creative and he always, has his eyes on what's the cutting edge of technology and film. And I think that together, we're able to come up with really great ideas. And so I just saw a path here where we could use those ideas. And that's when I started the process of actually incorporating it, because we already had a team. We were already, other people wanted to use our products. So it just made the most sense to have our own business where we could control, finances, make sure that it was, legal, it was on the up and up. Here in Doha, unlike many other places, you absolutely can't do business without being fully incorporated. So it just seemed really important here.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people have really great ideas, right?
Oh, okay.
They've got this another idea after another idea. What is the kind of mindset or the difference between somebody who has an idea and is able to implement and execute it?
So I'll say in the most famous words of Bo Jackson, just do it.
Okay.
Yeah. You can have an idea all day, but an idea without action is fruitless.
And typically, how long does it take between ideation and implementation?
It depends on the idea, the product. So let's say, for example, as I explained with my very first business, 9 months till I opened the door. And that was a lot of, physical building. So, I had to find locations, I had to get it furnished, I had to supply particular things that fit the parameters and the regulations of that business. So, having fire marshals come out and approve, the sprinkler system, things like that. Where with the business that I have now, it's more about making sure that the laws are in place, knowing how to structure the business so that you are keeping up with your taxation, you're keeping up with making sure that your staff is paid. So it was very different processes with both of them. Whereas my business in Poland just happened from an idea. And it just took me saying, okay, yeah, let's do it, and moving, going out there and showing up at people's houses, and then eventually them showing up at my house. So, it really does depend on the type of business you do. But I think that the common denominator is when you have the idea and you feel the efficacy to, do good business, you just have to do it. You have to start, and you're going to learn what you need along the way.
And so when we talk about teams, all right, how important is having a really solid team to a business endeavor?
Again, so it depends on the type of business. When I had my business in LA, it was really hard to find a good team member for that particular necessity and to cover all of the rules and regulations that had to go with it. It wasn't easy. So a lot of times I ended up having to work, alone or with friends and, asking for huge favors on a regular basis. I think in this situation, the team came first because the product was already there. And really they are priceless.
And what is the product? I don't think that's been super clear.
So the product one being the band. So can't be a band by myself. I got the offer and it was just me. So then I had to start building the band that was going to do the work.
Which is Arnie in the Army.
Arnie in the Army, yes.
Okay,
and then let's say with the filming, the photo, the technology there, you do need a crew. You can't be a one-man show and execute it well. You need the technicians, you need the coders, you need a lot of different components to come together to make that quality product at the end. We need our editors, especially.
Yeah. And then what about bullet time? Like, how would you describe that to people?
So bullet time, I would describe it as, well, it's a multi-camera system with a central brain. And it's able to do a couple of different things, but mostly capturing a shot, a person, a subject matter, at multiple angles at the same time. So this technology is really fun. It's been used before, like in the movie Matrix. That was where they were able to show that rounded effect in slow motion. So that's bullet time. And our product is the same technology, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. How important is community? I know in our experience together, you talk a lot about like community and bringing people together from all over. Like, why is community so important to you?
Great question. So community is highly important because not one person is functioning, even though they may think so, they're not functioning completely alone. So when you have a community, that community can help you in so many different ways. So in networking, in supporting you physically, with help, labor, being able to give you moral support, I think is huge. Especially somebody like me, I've moved several times. I've moved my career and my mindset and my home and my children several times. And I think that when you keep starting over, that can really tax your mental health. So, community is really important to, keep that morale up, know that you have a home base somewhere. It helps you to cope and be more resilient, I believe. I can see it in my children. They've lost their friends several times in moving, and yet one thing that they can always hold on to is their family, that they don't get to see very often, but they know they're there. And the families that we've built along the way, those people have truly become family to my children. It's really helped them.
Aunt Jess.
Absolutely. Call me Nysa. But yeah, I mean, but absolutely, that community. Without that community, we wouldn't have met Aunt Jess. Without, Aunt Jess in that community, we wouldn't have those moments to, reach out and say, I just need somebody to talk to today. Those small things may seem really small, in a broader scope of life, but in, mental wellness, in pursuing your endeavors when everyone else seems to be going in another direction, and you just need that little push, that little hug, that distance, that virtual hug, that makes a huge difference in what you're doing. It makes it feel like it's that much more worthwhile.
Very cool. So Project Ultimate Life, the entire kind of vision for it, shall we say, is to inspire, empower, and motivate people to live happy, healthy, more fulfilling lives. Okay. From that perspective and that lens, what is your version of what your ultimate life would be? And what's that vision for forward thinking, like future thinking for you?
Okay. So what is, if I understand, what is my ultimate life? Okay.
In a very simplified version.
Right.
What's your version of your ultimate life?
Right. What is, I think, honestly, I'm already on the path of my ultimate life. I needed to, let's say, edit some people from the past who weren't positive influences on, even, I know that everybody's going through their struggle and they have their good moments, their bad moments. But I think that when you encounter certain people and it just seems like their moments are very taxing on a regular basis, and you try to communicate like, hey, let's find another way to interact with each other, and they're just not willing. I think that I've learned then that's when it's time to just be okay with letting go. It's not necessary or any obligation on my part to hold on just because we use the term friends. So I think that like when I realized that, then I really started to live my ultimate life, because then I started to consciously and very purposefully choose who's around me, who's around my children, who's around my team, my staff, because people do affect other people. And when you have, let's say, in the words of my grandmother, when you have that bad apple in the bunch, you do need to pluck that apple out so that the rest of them can stay healthy longer. And so to shorten this answer, I do feel like I've already built businesses. It was something I wanted to do from a kid. Check, done. I think looking forward, I'm trying to find the mentally happiest ways to build the community that I'm going to happily go out with. I'm okay with death and the concept of death. I got to firsthand experience it as a really small child, and I saw how it could happen beautifully. And it's something that I've always wished for myself and for the people that I love, to go out peacefully. And I think that as I go forward, I'm going to keep doing my projects. I'm going to keep developing my ideas. I'm going to keep, spending time with quality people. But I just want to go out peacefully. And that would be the ultimate life for me. I watched my some family members go out peacefully and some not peacefully. I was happy to be there at the end for all of them. But I choose the peaceful path. That would be ultimate for me.
Good. If someone were just kind of starting out and wanted to get into business, or they're just sort of refining their ideas for the first time, or maybe they're at the beginning of their journey, what kind of advice would you have or give them?
I would definitely say do your homework, know all of the parameters of your type of business, and then as quickly as possible, start moving towards each one of those steps. Don't wait. There's no purpose of waiting. You're going to learn along the way. But I think that if we sit around and we overthink it, we complicate it, we what's the word?
Convolute?
I wanted to say convolute, but it was more like, just really overthinking it. We tend to make excuses, stop ourselves, not take that one extra step every day. And in every single one of my endeavors, if it wasn't for that step by step action, nothing would have come to fruition. And that's what I can say. I think a lot of people sit around and they talk about their ideas. And I know a lot of people are still talking about their ideas. All the people that I know and who have businesses had to do it. And I think that that's the most important thing. Again, being responsible and knowing what it is you're doing and what's the rules behind it so that you can do it well. But
how important is clarity in that?
Clarity is huge. I mean, how many businesses go under because they have no idea what their taxation is, and it's such a painful, and yet avoidable way of going out of business, and having trouble with the governments that you're involved with. But if you know your taxation, if you know what rules are in front of you, if you know the licenses that you need to have, if you know how operations should take place every day, then, like you said, if you have that clarity, you have a much better chance of success.
Cool. And what would you say to somebody who wanted to give up? They started and they were like, I've had it. It's just not possible.
Somebody who wants to give up. So I would first of all need to ask why. Where are you in that journey? And why are you giving up at this point? What are your reasons? So let's say, for example, if someone wants to give up because it's hard, life's hard. You just have to like buck up and accept the beauty of life in its fullness. Life is not meant to be easy for us. It's meant to have its challenges and find that beauty as well. My grandma used to say, easy come, easy go, right? So if you don't have the challenges, then you don't really get the essence of why it is you started that endeavor in the first place. So I would say, learn to cope, buck up a little bit, find your inner strength. It's there if you choose. If someone wants to give up because things weren't put into place in the proper order, and they can just see, the Titanic is sinking because they didn't do their due diligence. If they can't get help, to salvage, then it might be time to give up. So that's why I always say do your due diligence in the beginning, not at the end of the process. It should be a very strong foundation that you're building when you're putting a business together. It's like raising kids, right? You don't wait until they're adults to try to teach them their ABCs. You've got to put these educations in place from the start.
Is there anything that you would like to add before we say goodbye today?
That I love you.
Aww.
And I'm gonna miss you so much. And I'm just happy that in this journey we were brought together, because I do feel like we're kindred spirits. And as we both move forward, we know that we have each other. Yeah.
Well, then you gotta do this.
Yeah. Yeah. So just know you have your family.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know it's true. I'm going on a nomadic adventure, and it's very much an adventure. And you never know where the road will take it or where it'll go. So it's like driving in in a car with fog lights on, can't see very far, just one step ahead of the other.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, I know you've got loads of different branches within your company with the band and different things.
Exactly. But I think Bite Entertainment, everyone's on Instagram these days, so finding us at, BITE Entertainment on Instagram.
Arnie in the Army?
Arnie in the Army is there as well. Timetext is a great way to find us, or just Nysa Sings. So
Nysa, Nysa?
Not Nysa. Nysa.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much.
All right.
Nysa. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.